minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, buddy, it is the Voice of Reason. Hey, welcome into it. Great to have you today. It is a Friday. Oh, that's loud. That's loud. Yeah, we're coming in hot today. What can I say? Welcome in. It's a Friday. It's the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Great to have you along for the ride today. Making it happen, doing the thing, advancing conservatism each and every day. We are broadcasting live out of the flagship station of the Big Talker KQAM in Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HooserReason.com. Also on Podbean, we have the live stream going on there. We're really all over the place, so no matter where you may be, thanks for hanging out with us, and we appreciate that very, very much. No guests today. It's the first time in a while that we actually haven't had a guest. We're just going to chit the chat, do the thing today with you and me together, which, you know what, we need days like that. Sometimes you love having crowds over, you love having guests over into the house, but after a while, you just need a little bit of intimate time, right? And I am excited to just have you and I do our thing, as we have a lot to get to, because right now we have mail-in ballot crises that are happening in the nation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then we have the secondary outbreak of the virus. You didn't even know it. Yeah. You didn't even know that was going on right now, was a secondary outbreak of the virus. So we'll get to that. Plus, the Republican National Convention, the Democrat National Convention, both setting the stage here in the next couple of weeks in order to kick off. What's it going to look like, and how are they going to set the tone for their parties going into the general election? As you know, I am an absolute dork when it comes to election season. So we have all that to cover today and more. You can always email me, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. You can leave comments on the social media as we live stream, and I will get to those, and we'll talk about those as well. So we have tons, and I don't know where to start here. Let's start off with this mail-in ballot issue, shall we? So, as you know, there's been an issue with Donald Trump where he is apparently wanting to cut the USPS funding. No, it's not true, but that's what the media says, right? What they're really saying, or what really needs to be said, and with our trending story today,
What's trending today?
Yeah, what's trending today is the fact that we have major issues with our U.S. Postal Service, where it is understaffed, it is under-budgeted, and that's the way it's always been. They always complain that they don't have enough money. They always complain that there's not enough resources. They always complain they don't have enough people. They always complain about something, which is why stamps continuously go up in price, right? Because we need more money. And instead of actually just throwing money at the problem like Democrats love to do, Donald Trump has said, no, we're going to reform this. We're finally going to fix the problem. And by the way, we probably shouldn't worry about doing full mail-in universal ballots. You ever notice the word universal seems to be the thing Democrats always have? Universal health care, universal ballots, mail-in ballots, universal whatever. It's all universal. We need to globalize, need to centralize everything in one simple location, right? And it needs to be the government because we trust the government with all our lives. But instead of saying we're going to do universal mail-in ballots, he's trying to say, no, we're going to do in-person voting come this election. And I guarantee you this is going to be one of the major issues going into the election in November. Crazy, right? You wouldn't think how you could vote would be the issue to drive you to want to go and actually vote. But it happens this year with the coronavirus. We have Joe Biden, if I can remember his name. I got dementia just like Joe Biden. That's a joke. Come on. It's a joke. We have Joe Biden coming out and saying that we need to do mandatory mask wearing across the nation, encouraging all states to do so, which I don't know why. Numbers are stabilizing. The deaths haven't increased in any way, shape, or form. They talk about how bad it is here, but yet we refuse to talk about treatments like hydroxychloroquine and zinc. So while other nations have taken it and have been like, yeah, we're fine, and they moved on, we're sitting here struggling, spinning our own wheels, not sure how to reinvent the wheel for a 14th time, and we continue to struggle with the number of cases. And we're more concerned about trying to get more testing out there than we are about actually treatments. Andy, there is no treatment. Not according to the media, not according to the CDC and the World Health Organization, but there are some that many doctors are using, and it seems to be working relatively well. So while we debate that, we go into a general election. Shocker, political season, right? And Donald Trump says, wait, no, we need to go and vote. Joe Biden says, no, we need to do mail-in ballots. And that's where the issues are. Now, here, for the first time, and I think this could be a little bit concerning for us, for the first time, the U.S. Supreme Court has made a decision based on changing the rules during the pandemic. Now, for us conservatives, I'm all about conservative principles and the reason that we have them, that we have limited government, that we have the rules of our law, or the law of the land, that we have the rules in place that we need to, because they were done in a time of crisis. Therefore, no matter what type of crisis comes about, we don't need to change the rules. We need to embrace them, right? Our traditional values, our fundamental foundation that we have called the U.S. Constitution, we need to embrace these rules at a time of crisis because they were created out of times of crises. We didn't want religious persecution, therefore we have religious freedom. We didn't like a king and a dictator, therefore we created a government where we have limited government with checks and balance systems, so we don't have a dictator or a king or a tyrant in our nation. We don't want to create those things. We don't look towards them all of a sudden like ancient Romans did and say, wow, we're under war in a time of crisis. Let's put the head general in place as an emperor and he'll just run things until he doesn't want to anymore. That's what Democrats are doing, which makes me think that, number one, we like to repeat history. Number two, we're weak. Because we always like to look towards somebody to do something. A gun crisis happens, we need to do something. Something is already done. Well, what? Well, we try to embrace firearms, to understand them, to use them, to have them, so that way we try and prevent it going on in our own personal lives. Every time a shooting happens in a community, you go out and you get a firearm so you make sure it doesn't happen to you because you think at first, that could never happen in my community, right? That could never happen in my school. That could never happen in my workplace. And then it does. And then you say, holy cow, maybe I should prepare myself a little bit more. That's the mindset of Americans. But yet now we get scared and we say, government, do something, help us, please. The church of the government, looking to do something. So now we're in a global pandemic with a virus. Andy, that's way worse than the revolution. Yeah, okay, right? Way worse than a revolution. Revolution was fought because of a dictator and a king. That's why we created this whole government system. Why are we trying to look towards them during a global virus pandemic that Donald Trump apparently doesn't know how to fix? Because, obviously he's the only one that doesn't know how to fix it. Everybody else knows how to fix it but Donald Trump, right? Yeah. They want to change the rules. So according to Crone.com, The Supreme Court ruled yesterday against a lawsuit started by the Republican Party, allowing consent decree to go forward so that Rhode Island, the state of Rhode Island, voters during the coronavirus pandemic could cast mail-in ballots without in-person witness verification. Now, apparently they have the law. Now, I don't know if this is every state, because the last time I remember, I did one mail-in ballot, and it was in Colorado, and I don't believe you needed a in-person witness. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think so. But the state of Rhode Island apparently has a law for mail-in ballots where you need an in-person witness verification, and the Supreme Court just said that they don't have to do that during the pandemic. This is why we're concerned about mail-in voter fraud. If you don't have to be verified in order to fill out that little piece of paper, put it in the mail, and ship it out, then I'm a little concerned of who's getting it, how many they're getting, and whether it's going to be counted accurately. Aren't you? Wouldn't that just be common sense? Now, here in the state of Kansas, we have laws where you have to verify yourself in order to get registered. We have relatively stringent ones, more stringent than some other states because of some of the administrators and leaders that we've had throughout the state of Kansas in the past. Other states are very willy-nilly on that one. California, very open to where you can have numerous individuals on the voter registration logs that shouldn't be there, who have passed away, who have moved, who haven't changed locations, who haven't changed their information, whatever. What did they say? 2.5 million illegal registered individuals just in one county. Just in one county, according to the Judicial Review. That's voter fraud. Now imagine those 2.5 million all of a sudden get mail-in ballots. They get them back and they end up counting them because we don't verify these things. This is why we're concerned. Now, while the Democrats try and throw a fit and say there's no such thing as voter fraud, it's actually more secure than in-person voting. There's no evidence of. We've talked about it before. There's plenty of evidence of. And the little bit of evidence we have is just a little bit we've been able to actually get. But we haven't been able to get all types of evidence because they haven't allowed us to do that. Because they want to say, la, 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 there's no such thing here. And no, you can't actually go out and experiment and try this. It's what they want. But for the first time, the U.S. Supreme Court has voted to change the rules based on the pandemic, that there doesn't need to be any in-person witness verification. And that to me is concerning. And if it does it to one state, the tricky part about lawsuits is that when it happens one time, then it just snowballs to any other case that comes out that way in order to start leaning towards them because they reference the prior cases. So while one state just fell to where you don't have to verify yourself in order to do the mail-in ballots, what's it going to do to the other states? And the Republican Party challenged this in court and they lost, because they're concerned of voter fraud. And it snowballs into, should we delay it? What are we going to do? The secondary outbreak, which the secondary outbreak's already here. I hate to say it's not really, but it is, according to the media. Have you seen the headlines in the media lately? I want to get to that in just a little bit. Have you seen the headlines? They're ready for it, and I think they're just a little too early. I think they're jumping the gun just a little bit, but they're impatient. And again, we'll touch on that in a second. But if we start seeing states fall like this with changing the rules on how we vote, that just opens up the door for pandemonium. We are months away from the election right now. And if we start changing rules on how different states are able to operate their elections, whether it's in-person voting, whether it's mail-in voting, whether it's whatever type of voting that individuals want to do, provisional ballots, if they choose to go there and just kind of walk in, same-day voter registration. You know that they're going to try and push the same-day voter registration now, right? And some states already have it. But some states that don't, it's going to be, well, they weren't able to get out. It's been a virus. They've been cooped up. They've been quarantined. They've been isolated. There's no way that they can actually go out and register to vote. We need to register on the day. Only limit the exposure one time to go and register to vote and vote at the same time. You know they're going to do that. Why wouldn't they try and push something like that, right? It's already been in the bill. It was in the first $3 trillion stimulus bill that Nancy Pelosi tried to advocate for with same-day voter registration. Because that apparently is something that's really important during COVID, right? To walk in, not verify yourself, fill out a provisional ballot, mail it, and submit it, and be done. And get counted when who knows what happens. They're pushing for the shenanigans left and right, blocking Republicans when they're waving the flag, yelling up and down, jumping up and down, and saying, wait a second, there's something sketchy going on. I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable with this. And we're afraid of some type of shenanigans going on in the election process. And they don't care. They don't care. So be wary. The Supreme Court, which has made some really interesting decisions lately with the makeup of it, with John Roberts, of course, being the swing vote on the progressive side, majoritively lately, has been voting some really bad decisions. But this one saying that they can change the process that they vote. Many states pushing for the same-day voter registration. If this continues on, then you already know the outcome before it's even done. The media pushes these fake polls that show Joe Biden up over Donald Trump. The media pushes the narrative that the Republicans are losing support of Donald Trump. The media is pushing the narrative that the egg industry and the farmers are losing support of Donald Trump. The media is pushing this narrative that Donald Trump just is hated by everybody, and then they're going to come out and rig the polls, rig the election, and come out and say, we told you so. Now, they were wrong the last election, but apparently they're going to be spot on in this one, right? I don't buy it. This is why we need to turn out en masse, because we have to overwhelm the system so much on the right side of the aisle that there's no way that they can try and manipulate it. There's no way. That's what we have to focus on. We'll do some more of that when we come back here. It's a big show. We got a lot to get to today. You're not going to miss a single bit here on The Voice of Reason. It's a Friday. Let's have a little fun. What do you say?
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at Hoosier. To watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hoosier Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back in. 24 minutes past. It goes by so fast. The biggest, longest segment of the whole show's done already. We're going to have a short amount of time here, so we got to cram it in the way we do, cramming 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag on I know it's a Friday, which do me a favor. If you're on social media, share it out. Link to it, say hi, leave a comment, break that algorithm, share it all over your social media. We appreciate that very much. I know people are out on a Friday night doing their thing. But their thing should be, having a little fun on the radio, which is what we like to do. each and every day. Comment, we have to win beyond the margin of cheating. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we have to do. They're going to rig it. We know they're going to rig it. And whether we can win the popular vote, which I think we could almost win the popular vote unless they rig it that badly. Now, Donald Trump lost the popular vote in the last election by, 2.5 million votes to Hillary Clinton. And they say, Andy, that's why we need the popular vote. No, it's not. That's exactly why we don't need the popular vote. Not because of Donald Trump, but because the popular vote would just allow the two liberal coasts of the country to be able to choose every single time, and we would have absolutely no say in the middle of the country. Absolutely no say in any way, shape, or form. And we would never, ever, ever see a Republican president again. They would rig it. They would have as many people try and go out there and just vote blindly as they possibly could, being uneducated voters. This is why the Electoral College is more important than ever before right now. And thank God we have it. But the way things are going right now, I would almost see a popular vote win for Donald Trump as well this year, rather than just an Electoral College vote win. I truly do see that if it was done properly. But with a mail-in voter system, that could be a problem. Here's another headline. According to theweek.com, Pennsylvania ballots might not be delivered in time to be counted. Now, there's a deadline for you to have to put it in the mail in order for you to get it to where it needs to go to be counted. The local precinct, the county, wherever it goes to in order for it to be counted. There's a system, and there's a deadline. And the fact that we have this deadline set in place, and it's still not going to be enough time for them to be counted on election day or counted by the time they need to, which there's a delay because I believe in most states, as long as it's mailed and stamped out on election day, then you're still good. So you still got like a 3 or 4 day delay before you see the final count on those, which is concerning to me because I'd like to hear on election night who the actual winner of the race is going to be. And I don't know that we're going to get that this year. But Pennsylvania already saying Pennsylvania ballots might not be delivered in time to be counted because of the mail. This is turning out to be the quote-unquote big epidemic that everybody's talking about is the United Postal Service. Give me a break. Give me a break. This should be simple. You put it in, you mail it, and it's good. And it's a little bitty envelope. And they should know where this goes. Whether we put a basket or a bin outside and we say, dump your mail-in voter ballot here. You do realize as well, though, too, that you can take your mail-in ballot and you can go to the precinct or the poll and you can hand deliver it, too, right? That means you don't have to touch anything. You don't have to really be around people. You already go to the grocery store and do the same thing. All you do is go up to the voting person and say, here you go, and you hand it to them. You can do that. So I don't know why we're making a big deal out of it. Oh, that's right. The media is making a big deal out of it. Here's another one. Chaos and confusion. According to Yahoo News, the post office cuts fuels worries over mail-in voting. Now, all of this tied into a nice little bow. Obama, the great one, Barack Obama, he's come out and said that Donald Trump is actively kneecapping the Postal Service in order to affect the 2020 election. Explain this to me, please. We're concerned about voter fraud by the mail-in ballots. We're concerned about it. There's no evidence of it. We're just concerned. We're conspiracy theorists, and we just think everybody's out to get us, right? That's what they think of us. So let's roll with it for a second. We're conspiracy theorists. We don't think that the mail-in system is going to be efficient. So in order for it to be more efficient, we want to sabotage it so it's less efficient. Can you explain that to me, please? Now, the mindset, I guess, would be like, well, it's so bad that we can't do mail-in ballots and people wouldn't trust it, but we can't trust it already. So why would we make it less efficient if we're already worried about its efficiency? So why would, quote-unquote, cutting the U.S. Postal Service and be kneecapping the election because we're concerned about voter fraud from mail-in ballots? Can someone please explain that one to me? Barack Obama's genius right there, I tell you. That's what we had to live through for 8 years. Good golly.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the voice of reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you.
and I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, you are. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you today on a Friday, no matter where you may be around the country, around the world. We've been getting podcast downloads from outside of the country, which is awesome, so thank you for that one. We've seen an increase in the podcast downloads. You can find us on all the podcasting sites, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn, doesn't really matter, and more. Also, the states with the most amount of downloads, Kansas, Texas, Wisconsin, Michigan, California, and Virginia. Virginia's killing it. Whoever's in Virginia, maybe it's all the politicians. Maybe Donald Trump's listening to this. That'll make you think, right? We do got a lot of connections out in Washington, D.C., so hopefully they are tuning into the program and listening. And if so, hey, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Until then, you can find us online streaming video, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Podbean live streaming right now, radio and TV. We're all over the place, and we appreciate you very much, especially on Fridays like this when it's a Friday evening. You want to go out and partay, and you can go out and enjoy. But yet you want to stay in and listen to a crazy radio guy. That's okay. We appreciate that. It's important, right? Or at least somewhat relatively entertaining. You can also email me, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. I want to go back for just a second. All the way back to early 1900s. Let's do a little history lesson for just a second, shall we? Franklin D. Roosevelt, around that time, World War II area. As you know, FDR was one of the most progressive, one of the first true progressives that was president of the United States. Teddy Roosevelt was kind of, sort of, even before that, wanting to do more nationalized parks in order to preserve them. And he had good intentions with them, but he was a little bit more on the progressive side, and it just kind of consistently went that way. The pendulum began to swing farther and farther that way until we had FDR, one of the true socialists of our nation, and people loved him. The Democrats still hail him as one of the greatest presidents of all time. I don't know why, because he signed the Great New Deal, and because he really started a lot of progressive movements. He started a lot of the agencies. And one thing that he said, if you remember all the way back when, one thing that he said was that the true change and progress of this nation is not going to be done overnight. It's got to be done in increments. He said this. This is why he said, when I leave office, I can't have everything that I wanted. I have to instill these agendas in the administration, so after I leave, people continue to work and work and work over time. Socialism's not going to be accepted overnight. You have to do it gradually to where individuals don't notice it, and then one day they wake up and are like, oh, wow, what kind of nation do we have, y'all? What do we have, y'all? But right now, we're in that transgression, but Democrats are getting impatient, should we say. It's kind of like when you're getting towards the end of the finish line and you try and push it that last little bit when you're doing the long run, when you're doing the cross country, when you're getting towards you see the ribbon down there and you're pushing and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so close. I want to get there. And you try and push yourself just a little bit more to get past that finish line. The problem is, though, is that when they begin to do that, we begin to wake up and see it, and our red flag goes up, and we get a little wary, and we get concerned of what type of agenda that they're pushing. But they don't care. They're so close. And if they don't be careful, which I hope they don't, because we want them to fail, but if they're not careful, then when you try and push towards that finish line, you trip and you fall and you break your ankle just 100 meters away, right? Happens every time. Or you get dehydrated and you start seizing up and you collapse on the ground right before the finish line. That's what we want Democrats to do, because for conservatives and constitutionalists like ourselves, we kind of laugh at that and we're like, we think that's enjoyable. We get a little bit of pleasure out of that, right? Because we understand the dangers of what would happen if they end up crossing that finish line. And they are getting close. They've progressively gotten closer since FDR, little by little by little. New agencies, new administrations, new taxes, new regulations, new control over the industries, new pandemics, new fear tactics. It's always been about those fear tactics. We need to do something, right? We need to do something. And therefore, we come up with something that sounds fluffy and airy and wonderful, and we create a whole new agency and say, look, we did something. And then everybody's happy. Now, the issue didn't get resolved. It actually got worse, but we did something, so people just start turning their heads, turning the blind eye, and focus on something else that, oh my gosh, look at what happened. We need to do something. And with that play of fear of politics that the Democrats do oh so well, and Republicans do it on occasion too. I mean, we played the fear of politics when it came to Barack Obama, but we're legitimately concerned. When we do it, we're like, hey, the Constitution's kind of being trampled here. We need to save ourselves. We need to do something in order to stop the trampling of the Constitution. They do it because they're like, well, look at the power we could control. Let's try and create some type of crisis. There's a difference there, right? A little bit of a difference. I want to read you the headlines here, and I want to ask you, as we talk about going into the fall, we have school starting in many places. It's already started this last week or two. We have schools that have been delayed a little bit. We have fall activities and fall sports. People are starting to get a little anxious of staying at home, and they want to go out and about. We want to go and vote. We want to go to places other than just the grocery store. We want to go to bars and nightclubs. We want to go to the theater again and watch movies. We want to go do things. And right now we can't, and we're getting frustrated. Now that school's opening back up, many people are like, wow, I can actually go back to work again. Wow, I can actually go on a date. I can go do stuff again. But I want to read the headlines for you because you know the secondary outbreak, quote unquote, is going to be happening relatively soon, right before the election, to lock down the... Here's my theory again. I've told you this before. My theory is we're going to go into a complete lockdown, even so to where essential businesses are going to have a hard time staying open. We're going to shut down the schools. We're going to shut down work. We're going to shut down everything right before the election because it's going to get that quote-unquote bad to where that's what we have to do to say we can't even go to essential businesses, therefore we can't go out and vote. My theory is that they're going to get that desperate. That's what they're going to do. I think it's starting a little sooner, which I think they're going to get a little anxious and do this a little bit beforehand. Remember, FDR, we need to do this in increments. We need to slowly build up to this. We need to slowly gain to the point of our agenda of what we want to do. Bernie Sanders, when he spoke and ran for president, he said, he started it. We're finishing it. We're almost to the finish line. We're going to push ahead. We're going to actually finish the agenda that FDR had back then. This is our time. We're done waiting. It's been a long time. We're sick and tired of holding off and doing it in increments. We're going to do this right now. So in essence, really, Bernie Sanders screwed up the progressive movement because he tried to push the envelope just a little bit too much. The media is pushing the envelope just a little bit too much right now, too, because right now they're trying to jump the gun on the whole secondary wave. If they do it too soon, we're going to reopen up because people are not going to be locked down. But I want to read the headlines for you. This is just the headlines on Drudge Report, because Drudge Report, for some reason, went crazy left, and they're like, hey, why not? Forced isolation may be the only way to stop resurgence of virus. That's one headline. And think about that one for a second. Forced isolation, martial law, in order to stop a resurgence of the virus. It's going to be flu season. People are going to be getting sick. Kids are going to be going to school and spreading all the viruses. Now, I would think personally that if we have a flu season, it's going to be less than usual because people are already wearing masks, which means you're not going to be sneezing on each other. You're not going to be coughing on each other. It's not going to be floating as much in the airwaves. So flu season actually, in my opinion, would be going down this year. But I digress. So think about it. Potential martial law. Forced isolation may be the only way to stop resurgence of the virus. Then you scroll down a little bit. Lockdowns escalate obesity epidemic. Bad things are happening. Scroll down a little bit more. Vaccine rush leaves little recourse for anyone it harms. Vaccines, right? Then you see the headline right now. Trump brother hospitalized and is very ill in New York City. Okay. So now it's spreading out to even people that are affecting Trump. Trump might change his tone on some of this. Swing state ballots might not be delivered in time to be counted. It goes on and on and on about the virus and how terrible it is. Sick nurses and doctors feel pressure to get back to work. Fauci, any attempt to herd immunity would lead to massive death tolls. We can't do the herd immunity, which like we've done like every other virus and bacteria out there. Try and get the herd immunity so that way we're immune. I just saw a story today as well that came out and said that you're apparently only immune to the virus for 3 months. Then the immunity goes away. So all those that got it over the whole 4th of July weekend, we didn't really take it serious. We went out and partied. We had a good time. It was summertime. We went on vacation. We rode on the boats with our friends. All that. We got the virus. We were sick for 3 months. Guess what? Now we're getting to election season. You're not going to be immune anymore. Fauci, herd immunity is not going to work. Forced isolation may be the only way. They're starting the second pandemic, the second outbreak, before we're even ready for the election. Which I say, okay, fine, you know what, let this happen now. But they're concerned, they're jumping the gun a little bit, aren't they? If they're really going to do this to affect the election, don't you think they want to wait till like October, beginning of October? Oh, we can't go out there right now. Got to be out for at least a month. Got to stay at home for at least a month. But now, the middle of August is when they're pushing this. Hey, maybe we should start this secondary wave, this outbreak. And I don't know what that means, but what I do see is that they're panicking already. The numbers are still going up-ish, but the death rate hasn't increased. New cases are really plateaued. We're just looking at total cases right now, which is the wrong number, by the way, to look at, the total cases, because you could be testing people with the antibodies test and find someone that had the virus 4 months ago, and like, what? Or I guess, okay, 3 months ago now, because apparently you're not immune anymore. 3 months ago, but now they consider it a new case. So the total cases skyrocketing, new cases are kind of sort of increasing, and death rates are plateaued. We don't have a pandemic anymore. They don't even classify it as a pandemic anymore, but yet the media is not running with that. Now it's not a pandemic, so therefore we need to create a new one. The secondary outbreak is officially happening. Do you think they're going a little too soon with this? Do you think they're trying to push it just a little too early? Because if they want to affect it with the election, you'd think they'd wait a little bit. But again, the Democrat Party, the progressive movement, the media, they become too impatient. They don't want to wait any longer. They want a total lockdown right now. The economy's starting to go up. Trump's economy is coming back. The jobs are gaining. They're gaining more than what they anticipate every month. Unemployment, less people are filing for unemployment each and every month, more so than what they're anticipating. It's growing too quickly, and if it comes back too fast, that's going to only help Donald Trump in the election. We need to lock it down again. We need to quarantine again. We need to isolate again. They admitted it openly, publicly on Twitter until they deleted it. That's their main goal. That's what they want to do. And it's coming back to bite them. Got to take a break. One more segment on The Voice of Reason on a Friday. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome into it. One segment left here on the Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today, as you do every day. We do appreciate that more and more than you can imagine. We have a lot of people jumping on and liking the social media pages. You can find us all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all at Hooser Reason. We also have a Parler account because I know that Twitter's been kind of banning a lot of people for things they say, so Parler's kind of the alternative. You can go to Parler. You can find me at Hooser Reason. You can also find me on Minds.com. You can go to Minds.com and find me at Hooser Reason. All of them are at Hooser Reason. No I in the Hoosier. Almost like the state, but without the I. Just go to Hooser Reason on the social media. You can find us, like us, follow us, and we appreciate that. We have mostly the video streaming on almost all of those. Also at HooserReason.com. Become a Hooser Media or a Hooserholic, which we have more people, almost a couple people every single day that are subscribing to it. So, which is really cool. Thank you for that. Go to HooserReason.com and you can subscribe. Just type in your email. We'll send you a monthly newsletter with some topical issues of the month. We'll do our blog on there. You can talk about what's going on with the show, where we're going to be, some of the guests we have on, all that jazz. So make sure to go to HooserReason. Which we've seen a bump of that as well, too, which is really cool. So thank you for that. Last segment, we got a few minutes left, but real quickly, shift gears for just a second. As the virus is continuing, one of the big issues that's been difficult is for both the Democrat convention and the Republican National Convention to convene in order to finally approve their candidates and make them, quote unquote, official. So they're doing it remotely for the most part. Democrats are getting set. The Republicans are getting set. But the media, again, it's so easy to pick on them, isn't it? It's easy to pick on them because everything that comes out of the media's mouth is a lie. At least 80-90% of it is a lie. They use a little bit of fact and then they twist it and manipulate it, or they attack it completely. It's a lie. So it's our duty to kind of weed through that and find the truth. The truth is that the media is a liar. Liar. Le who, the her. Remember that? Yeah. Well, that goes back to the 1990s. That's my childhood there. And other people are saying, oh my gosh, Andy, you're so young. Be quiet. Turning into a millennial, and yeah, I feel old right now. I really do. I got to be honest with you. Some of the things that have happened, the music that's playing on the quote-unquote classic stations or the older stations, and it's the stuff that I'm growing up. I'm starting to feel old. I may be in my early 30s, but I'm starting to feel old. I can't help it. It's all right. But with this movement, now we have the virtual, and with the media trying to slander Donald Trump, what have they been saying in the media lately? That Donald Trump's losing support in the Republicans, right? Now, the latest poll that we saw a month or two ago showed that he still had a 98% approval rating within the Republican Party, but they're saying that he's losing support. Farmers are losing support. Rural America's losing his support, that he can't get it. The agriculture or the manufacturing or the factory workers, the blue-collar workers, they're all losing his support. They don't like him anymore. Which, of course, is ideal for them, because when he won Michigan and he won Pennsylvania and he won Ohio and he won Indiana and all those central states right there that are very manufacturing, that are very much truck driver, very much blue collar, very much agriculture, that if he loses those, which are the swing states that some of them predominantly go left because of the unions there, if he loses those, then it's game over. So they're trying to push that narrative, of course. But let me ask you something. If Republicans are losing support of Donald Trump, why do you think the Republican National Convention is lined up to have a Trump speak every night at the National Convention? Didn't know that, did you? Here's the headline from CNBC, or here's the story. With less than 10 days to go before the start of the scaled-back Republican National Convention, plans are taking shape for what will be a 4-day celebration of President Donald Trump. Vice President Mike Pence is set to deliver a speech on Wednesday night, the 26th. Several other convention speeches will take place at another federal property, including First Lady Melania Trump. And several of Trump's adult children will speak on Tuesday. Other speakers will include Tim Scott of South Carolina, Trump's ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Trump will be the center focus of the convention. This is still according to the CNBC story. Trump will be the central focus of the convention on each of the 4 days. A plan that breaks with the long-standing tradition of waiting until the last day of the convention to showcase the presidential nominee. Every single night, there is a speech from Trump or a Trumpee. Now, if the Republicans don't like him and are losing support, which is the headline here from thehour.com, discontent with McCarthy rising as the GOP considers possible post-Trump world. Trump's out. He's done. We don't like him. Why is McCarthy sticking with him? We need to figure out how to rebrand the Republicans without Trump, because he's not going to be the face any longer. That's what the media is pushing. At the same time, the Republican National Convention has a Trumpee speaking every single night to promote Donald Trump going into the general election. Can you put the disconnect there? Just a little bit. Think about that one as you go into the weekend. This is your show. It's the Voice of Reason. You need to be your local voice of reason. Each and every day, it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. I appreciate it. Podcast going up in a little bit. We have a crazy lineup of guests for you all next week. Don't miss it. Until then, everybody have a great weekend. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.